This is Chris doing my RPM video challenge again. This is day 9. Again, I'm trying to crank out another sort of short one. This one might be a little bit longer. We'll see. Anyway, the prompt today is if I had to describe my sound with 5 bands, what bands would I choose? This is a little bit tougher, I think, because it's not like the bands that influence me. It's the bands that I would use to describe what I sound like. I think definitely on that list is going to be Massive Attack. Massive Attack is there because of their really deep bass lines and their really sort of slow grooves. Because like I when I first started getting into trip hop, obviously Massive Attack is right up in there, and it really had a deep influence on the way that I approached making music. So that's definitely something that I would put on the list. Probably Aphex Twin, um, and not any particular thing, more just the experimentation and the freedom that the different types of things that he does, and the fact that he doesn't give a shit about like what maybe other people like conforming into a particular category. He has stuff that spans a wide range of musical styles or genres, and that's definitely something that has has influenced me to a degree. I wouldn't say that like my music sounds like Aphex Twin, but there are certainly elements that I would say that I have taken from his approach to making music in the way that I make music, at least as it relates to contemporary electronic music. I would say another one on the list is probably Steve Reich. I studied a lot about early electronic music and music concrete and the really early days of experimental music. And Steve Reich has always been somebody who I'm really interested in the way that he approached tape loops, and the phase patterns that he did were I started like it led me to start doing things in a similar way, to experiment in that way, and but do it in sort of like use modern tools to do the same sort of things that he was using with like the inconsistencies of like the tools they had at the time, to sort of like digitally reproduce like what a phase pattern would look like, but using like Sonic Foundry, SoundForge at the time, instead of using like tape loops and snipping off one loop shorter than the other loop. So that's definitely a thing, and the way that he's sort of adapted that over time, in things like different trains. It's something that I'm really interested in, and something I try to bring into the music that I make. That's 3. I need 2 more. I mean, I always used to say that like punk bands like Dead Kennedys. Like I think on my Bandcamp page, it describes me as having influences ranging from Aphex Twin to David Bowie to Dead Kennedys. I think that I am still really influenced, and the music that I make is really influenced by punk music, and the attitude of punk music, if not the sound of punk music. I was in a couple punk bands, and I listened to a lot of punk music, so like that's still part of me, even if the music that I actually make isn't specifically punk. And Dead Kennedys is right. Like it was probably the band that I listened to the most when I was listening to lots and lots of punk music. It was like Dead Kennedys and Minor Threat to a lesser degree, but Dead Kennedys was the one that I had on, and Black Flag. But definitely Dead Kennedys were at the top of the list. So maybe throw that in there. Um, and then I guess probably the final one would be like Skinny Puppy, probably. Um, Again, it's their approach to music, and their creativity and the way that they sort of evolved over time too, and the way their sound evolved over time, um, uh, sort of speaks to me, and it speaks to a sort of like level of maturity of like, like they weren't trying to do one thing for forever like some bands do. They were definitely trying to adapt and to change and to push themselves, and I was always interested in that evolution, and I think that the music that they produce is very sort of similar in an approach to those types of things that I do as well. What I don't think is communicated really in any of these bands, is the sense of indeterminacy, which I try to bring into my music. So I guess maybe honorable mention would go to like John Cage. The idea that there is no like music doesn't necessarily need to have a beginning and an end. It doesn't have to have like a particular cadence or a time signature. It can be whatever it is that you want to present, whatever sort of sound you want to put together, and present as a musical composition, and sort of redefining how music is redefining like what music is or should be, is something that appeals to me on a very deep level. Again, that's not something that necessarily comes out in the music that I make, but it's definitely something that's there underneath the surface in how I approach making music. That's it for today. Hope to see you in the comments, or subscribe to the channel, or whatever. And I hope to watch your videos if you're making them too, and listen to your albums if you're another RPM artist that's making music. Be sure to just link to your stuff, and I'm happy to take a look. I've got hours out of the day where I'm working and writing code, and music is how I get through the day. So happy to check out your stuff if you link it to me. And thanks for watching.